I want to bring in two people now who've been following the Brian Kohberger saga longer than almost anyone. Christine Cameron and Alina Smith are administrators of the University of Idaho Murders Case Discussion Facebook page. And we're so happy that you're friends of the show, and you've been so helpful just sort of, taking the temperature as this case has garnered such fascination, not just across the country, but all around the globe. Alina, let me start with you. Just this latest news about the Pennsylvania grand jury. What's fascinating about this is that it was actually the sleuths online who brought to the attention of Dana's family that Brian Kohberger, was a thing just within days of him being arrested. That's pretty amazing.
Yes. Hi, Ashleigh. So when this happened, when Brian was arrested, basically what a lot of people did online is they looked at all of the missing persons cases and just went to see where he went to school, where he lived, and tried to narrow it down to see if he was maybe a suspect in those as well. Nobody believed that he could be capable of killing 4 people as his first murder. That just seemed extreme. It seemed out of the realm of when people kill people, I guess, like the statistics, and nobody wanted to believe that this was his first murder. So they just started to look at all the missing persons cases and where he lived and where he went to school, and just to see if there's any connections or correlations with what they can find.
And certainly, I mean, the spot where Dana's body turned up was so close to not only the Kohberger home, but also DeSales University, where Brian was a student at the time. So, Christine, what was the reaction from the members in your Facebook group to see this news break about this grand jury and the subpoenas to Kohberger's parents?
Yeah, hi, Ashleigh. Thanks for having us again. The initial reaction from the group was really wanting more details, like we all do. I think a lot of people speculated that there would be more information coming from his past that reveal problematic behavior. And this Idaho case is extreme, and people have wondered and questioned if this was his first crime, because it seems highly unlikely that someone would commit 4 murders the first time around.
Yeah, I think that's been, sort of a theme for a lot of people, thinking that's a heck of a first-time offense. So let me ask you this, Alina: the statement that came from the local police, the Stroud police, that it just kind of gave us all a head shake. Did your members have any good theories or parse that statement any better than I was able to, quickly at the top of the show?
I don't think so. I think everybody was just thinking well, that was what the local police said. Maybe there's a deeper investigation. If the grand jury was, setting out subpoenas, then maybe the local police doesn't know what's going on a grander scheme of things. I think everybody just wants more. That if you get any piece of information, they just always think there's something more behind it, And,
I think if you go back to the Idaho case and you're looking at what the police did there and keeping us all in the dark, I think that's where people are questioning.
Oh, and understandably, because some of the things the Idaho police said just turned out to not to be the case at all. So, and stay with that, Christine, and the notion that, a lot of the folks in the case discussion group have, they've posited certain theories. They've come up with fascinating concepts and ideas. I wondered if there are a lot of theories and theorizing that there might be another suspect, or rather another victim out there. What do the members think about the potential of other possible victims, allegedly, of Brian Kohberger?
Well, Ashleigh, you know that all of our pages end with the case discussion attached, because in essence, that's what we are all about. We want people to be discussing and theorizing. And in the beginning, we had no idea who this person was. So all of us were focused solely on this case. And now that there's a suspect in custody, members want to know more and are open to discussing this case and other cases that involve him. For example, we found an old rap song that he allegedly wrote and rapped. And if you listen to the lyrics, there are some really interesting verbiage used that indicate some aggressive and angry thoughts, like, "You are not my equal, you are evil, but I'm the devil." So,
yeah, it's pretty uncomfortable stuff. And I think that with the gag order, we're only at the tip of the iceberg when it comes to how much material we're actually going to learn about Brian Kohberger and his background. And I'm sure they have done every single digital autopsy of every shred of his life. So I'm sure there's more, more to come. But so let me ask you this about the alibi, the confirmed alibi. That's another fascinating aspect of this, Alina. The fact that the police have said that there's a confirmed alibi, rather not the police. Brian Enton's source has said that Brian Kohberger has a confirmed alibi in this case. How did that sit with the members of the group?
Well, as far as we know, the confirmed alibi is that his mom said that he was home and went to sleep before she did. So she's confirming that she watched him, head to bed, and she can confirm that she was awake long enough to where he was still sleeping and she went to bed. But, who knows? Like if I go to sleep, I could leave the house after everybody else goes to sleep. To me, that's not a confirmed alibi at all. Anybody can sneak out of the house. Anybody can leave if they wanted to. So if that's what they're saying is a confirmed alibi, then that is a very weak confirmed alibi.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.